Ladies and gentlemen, we are here. We are here. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 128 of the Splash Cast, the ATL Edition. I am your co-host, Reggie.
I'm your co-host, Norwood, and nothing like starting out with some. It's not old school, but it gives you the old school rap vibe. Uh, Collard Grove 2 coming out here in the next couple weeks. 2 Chains, Lil Wayne, not to
For real?
disappoint. Hopefully, prayerfully.
They coming out with a mixtape?
This is a follow-up. They already had Collard Grove 1. It was okay.
Yeah, I didn't hear much about that one. I heard when it was coming out, and then I didn't hear nothing else.
It was okay. You get a couple that you like, and I also understand you can't give your singles away. Neither one of those guys at this point, really, honestly. So just give me 3 or 4 good slaps. That's all I ask for these days. I'm a simple man. I'll make the rest of it work.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So y'all know what it is when it comes to y'all on Sunday. It is, we haven't named it yet, Sunday service. That's what we call it.
Sunday service, and this is a funeral.
We talk about the ATL edition of the Splash Cast. We talk about the Braves, the Falcons, the Hawks, the United when necessary. I mean, we talk about everything. Actually, I think they got eliminated.
They are
from the
playing
playoffs
Columbus, all right?
Are they playing right now?
Columbus.
Huh?
They were playing Columbus. I don't know I don't know the outcome of that game. I got too many games on at one time at this point. I'm overwhelmed a little bit.
What games you got?
And I'm hurt.
Right
I'm hurt. I'm tired of losing.
No, well, it is a funeral. Atlanta United lost, so we'll start here. The Atlanta United made it to the playoffs. They played Columbus, and we lost the last game. We lost the last game, game 3 of the first, I think it was the first round of the playoffs. Game 3, Columbus, 2-1, so we are eliminated. Atlanta United played a decent season, but it is what it is, man. Tough.
Hey, way more disappointment on the way.
Oh, Lordy Lord. So now that we've done our United, we're really going to we plan on starting with the Braves. So
disappointment there.
The Braves had arguably the best infield in baseball, and have had the best infield in baseball, or at least top 5, top 3 in baseball for the last 5 to 6 years.
Correct.
The development of Austin Riley, the smart moves by Alex Anthopoulos, and the development of Ozzie Albies, as well as finding hidden talent like Orlando Arcia, Nicky Lopez. We had other people. Who else did we have? We traded one. We had Charlie Culberson at one point.
Freddie, and then Matt Olson. Like that transition and keeping a guy at that level.
So
this is starting to get a little scary for me. That's all I gotta say.
So we have all those infield talent, but they needed to be developed. And Ron Washington was brought in by Brian Snitker, and in 7 seasons, he not only developed that infield of Ozzie Albies, Austin Riley, Travis d'Arnaud. He got the best out of Travis d'Arnaud, Freddie Freeman,
absolutely.
Dansby Swanson. Orlando Arcia, I already said before. Everybody developed into Gold Glovers under Ron Washington. 7 seasons, 6 division titles, 1 World Series ring. I feel like you gotta
entire infield was an all-star this year.
That's what I said. The best infield. I feel like you gotta retire his number. Whenever he decides to step away, he's one of those guys that's gonna have his number retired. He's got to be retired.
Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. Number one, congratulations to Ron. There's not a person who deserves it more. I'm extremely happy for this guy. It does sadden me because he's been a fixture of our team for so long and extremely so valuable, but I could never be a hater. I want to see this man elevate, and he definitely deserves it. He's got an interesting situation over there in Anaheim, but I don't believe that there's anybody more prepared to coach and teach and manage than Ron. I think that he has unique ability to be very transparent with players. You know, he's the most notorious for if you want to play, you gotta play better. and that was in reference to Vaughn Grissom, but the entire team. He's very straightforward. He's very honest, but he's also a very likable guy. So congratulations. And hey, man, we'll keep an eye on you, man. We'll support you. Splashcast will support you from afar, of course.
Yeah, I do feel we say this about black coaches all the time. They always get hired to clean up some mess.
The
And
messiest of mess, too.
the Anaheim Angels are some mess, man. I mean, they're about to lose. What's his name? They're about to lose Showtime. Mike
They
Trout.
lost him already.
Mike Trout is good, but I mean he's aging, and you don't know anybody else on that team.
And realistically, the right answer is to get rid of him too, and just clean house and start over.
That is the right answer. I don't know if you do that.
Starting over, man. That's tough.
You'll have a lot. No, baseball is not as hard to start over.
You're right.
You just gotta make the right decision at the right time. It's a difference between going if you're gonna go free agency, is a difference between going to the Dodgers, to the teams, and then turning into the Padres. Like you gotta. It's a fine line between buying a whole bunch of tarnished goods, overpriced.
And that's where I feel like Braun is hamstring from the beginning. It's not like Anaheim has had two of arguably the greatest baseball players of all time, and they've mismanaged their careers. I don't think that
at the same time.
Yes, I don't think that people are suddenly going to get over there and start making really good decisions. So, I mean, I get it because there are not that many opportunities from specifically black managers, but this is you know what this really feels like to me?
What?
Feels like when the Texans hired Tully.
David Tully.
He's going to do a good job.
I get where you're going, but I don't think Tully came out of nowhere. I think Ron Washington, he was already a former manager. I think he was really good as a manager, but he had some personal things patterns that he had to take care of, and I think he has more experience than David Tully.
Fair. That part is fair, but the cleanup job and your age not really matching up with the team's long-term plan, that's where I'm saying that I see.
You know what I see this as? They're hoping that this is their Dusty Baker. They hope he comes in and cleans it up to the point they get some free agents and they can go somewhere. And this is Dusty Baker to the Reds. This is exactly what it is. Dusty Baker
to the Reds. To the Reds. I was like, not the Astros, but I see what you're saying.
No, that was PR.
Yeah. Can you fix this situation right now that needs to be fixed soon and very soon?
Yeah, so
I can see that.
Everybody loved them. As you can see, the outpouring of support. Oh, don't freeze on me. The outpouring of support from Ozzie, Austin Riley, Travis d'Arnaud as well. He is also taking EY, our first base coach. He's taking Eric Young.
This is scaring me, man. Like one of the biggest things that I've spoken to you about on multiple occasions is leadership is fundamental. Leadership is key, and you lose your first clubhouse leader in Freddie Freeman, and everything is mostly okay. Then you lose Dansby. Yep. And then you're really like, okay, where is this thing going? But we still hang in there, have a fantastic regular season. Now we're going to lose both of our infield coaches. I mean, it's a lot of pressure on really like Ronnie and Ozzie and Austin. Like they got to step up, and you have a whole new portion of your job that you have to be a lot better at now.
Well, Eric Young I don't know the politics of, the hierarchy of on-field coaches. I don't know like where there's analyst, offensive coordinator, assistant, like whatever. But I know he's moving from first base to third base, and he'll be his third base coach, which is very important. He's the one that decides whether the runners go home or not. He's the one that's getting signals. He's He's basically, I want to be like the head umpire, if I'm not mistaken, of the coaching staff out there on the field. The field, everybody's looking at him. So,
Yeah.
um,
The equivalent of like in football, what would be considered your head assistant.
mm-hmm. So he is getting a promotion too, man, and that is tough. That is tough.
And those
That
are
is
two
tough.
guys. Like, if anything, this is what I can say about Anaheim. I don't know what your talent level is like, but your fundamentals are better now. Just
So I've been reading the comments on some of this stuff. Um, some folks say the Braves window might be closed, or closed really close to close to try to get a championship. I think that's an
I'm not
overreaction,
going to be a
but
prisoner of the moment and say that, because I look at, we have all these guys on the contract for the next 3 or 4 years. That's the talent is locked in. The guys who we need are locked in. So I'm not gonna say that it's closed. No, as long as you can guarantee me that I have Ronald Acuna, Ozzie Albies, Austin Riley, Mike Harris, Sean Murphy, I'm not gonna say my window is closed. I'm not.
I think the
Now,
Braves will be
did
fine.
we lose some people who are fundamental to our success? Absolutely, but the window is open.
I think we'll be fine. I think it is a overreaction to a certain extent. I mean, it's a reaction. It definitely warrants a reaction. But to say our window is closed, but we definitely need it. It adds to the laundry list of things we need to address. Pitching being one
Correct.
of them. We need to address pitching. We need to address the small ball. We need to address left field. We need to address closers. Um, we need to address. We need to figure out what we're doing with Von Grissom. We need to figure out how to replenish the farm system.
Yeah,
Like there's a
farm
lot
system
of things we got to do. And
that definitely needs work. I
but
think
finding
Devon is going
assistant
to move
coaches
to
now takes it
outfield.
to the front though. Finding assistant coaches now takes you. That's number one. Everything gets bumped down a notch. So, but that's really all we got for the Braves. Shout out to the Braves, man. Again on to Ron Washington and Eric Young, headed over to the Angels. Hopefully, you can make that place better. We're gonna take 30 seconds. Shout out to everybody locked in. We appreciate y'all. Welcome to the live. We'll be back with our Falcons. Despair.
Something. It's something. It is something.
We will be back. Y'all stay tuned. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, with our Falcon segment of episode 128 of the Splash Cast, the ATL Edition. We just talked about the Braves with Ron Washington, headed to the Angels as the new manager. Congratulations to him, as well as taking EY and getting him as his basically head assistant and third base coach. Shout out to those guys. Most definitely well deserved. We got a couple holes to fill here on the roster with the Braves, starting with the assistant coaches, man. So we are now back with the Falcon segment. Lord. We lost.
It's
Go ahead.
something every week. It's something every week.
We lost, y'all. So the Falcons played the Cardinals. Yeah, we lost. But the Falcons played the Cardinals, and Kyler Murray came back, and he said this before. He said this 2 or 3 days ago and said, we're not really that far off. We're not a bad football team. Basically saying I'm the missing piece. And I said, you know what? I said it Saturday. I said it last week after we lost to Minnesota. I said, I'm tired of being other teams' highlight reels. I'm tired of being everybody else's stepping stone. The Falcons are great for being the team that a quarterback needs to rebound and rehab their career.
We are the slump buster.
We are the slump buster, dog. Like if you need to get your mojo back, play the Falcons. No matter what the record is, 13-3 or 3-13. We came into the game 4-5. No, 4-4.
Yes.
No, 4-5.
Yeah.
And we were a 2-point favorite, I believe, 2 or 3 point favorite. And we ended up losing the game 25-23. Go ahead.
This is a 1-win team that started, I think, 3 quarterbacks in 3 weeks. We find ways to lose games.
every
It's
single time.
and is y'all please bear with me today because I'm frustrated. We found like unique ways to trick off the last couple games. We had the drop by Van Jefferson. Then I think what do we have? The interception do we have the interception last week? Jeez.
Interception.
Um to end the game. We had a big play to end the game last week. I can't remember what it was. Also we had Dobbs spin around, spin a Ruski out of that to get the first down. Well, let me tell you, your boy Kyler did the same move
The
this week, and we got.
same thing, Doug. Kyler did the same thing.
I
He
could
did
not
on
even get
3rd
mad.
and
I was like,
15. I
Kyler,
was
we've
like,
seen
well,
this before. We see this all the time, honestly.
what was it, like 3rd and 15? Oh, interception. Jets.
Yes,
Oh.
It's every time it's third down and it's third and something they have no business getting, and he turns it from like third. You're right, it was 3rd and 10 to a 13-yard gain. And you can't get mad with Ryan Nielsen because he called the right play. And both times when we needed a sack, he's called the exact right play. We've gotten right. We've been close enough that if we were playing two-hand tag, we will be going home with a W. And then what happens? We miss the tackle. This time it was Ebiketie. I think it was a cornerback last time. He just spin out of it. And every time he's rolling, he's headed this way, spins back the other way, moving around with his right hand, and then just takes off. And once he got on the outside of Ebiketie, I knew it was over. I said, "Oh, there's no edge set. The defensive backs are dropped back in coverage. There's nobody over there." And he did what he needed to. I can say, go ahead, man. I don't know, man. I'm angry. I'm zapped today. I don't deserve this.
So the offense came out strong. Bijan, we allowed
Bijan,
we allowed a court. We I think we had like either downs or something in the first drive, and they ended up getting the ball, and we held them to a field goal. And then Bijan came out, and he actually looked pretty good. This is his touchdown run here that put us up 7-3. He looked really well. You could tell that Arthur Smith was very, very he was focused. He heard us. Somebody said something
what
to him, or he heard everybody saying, "Hey, you
what
are not. Why are you not giving the ball to Bijan
everybody
Robinson?"
kept asking the same question, and on top of that, the fantasy football people were on his ass, like, "What are you doing?" type of thing. You see, he started the game off as the kick returner. They kicked the ball. Bijan returned that first kick.
And that worries me. I can see that you responding. You like, you know what? I do need to get him the ball, but Arthur Smith seems like a little bit of an asshole. So you hear people complaining that you're not giving Bijan the ball enough, so you put him back there to return kicks.
So this is why I don't hate this, because I talked so poorly about the Cleveland Browns when they had Jarvis and they had OBJ. And I'm a firm believer that to a certain degree, you have to find once you identify your best players, you got to find a way to get the ball in their hands, period. So I appreciate him doing something unconventional to try to get Bijan a touch. So I don't hate it. And I don't think that he should have put him on kickoff return and then started him as RB1. I think that if you've ever been on kickoff before and you return a kick, typically a little tired. So put Tyler in there, let him run a couple plays, let Bijan catch some air, and then come right back out there. I didn't necessarily like the way that the game started. I would have staggered them.
I will say, aside from and that does worry me because you're more focused on. Well, I need to force. It seems like Arthur Smith only forces the ball. He doesn't know how to spread the ball around. He only knows how to force it to Drake London, or force it to Bijan, or give Tyler Algier 4 rushes in a row, or throw it to Kyle Pitts in triple coverage 3 times. It's almost like he predetermines, okay, well, I'm going to give the ball to Bijan here, or I'm going to give the ball. And it's not like there's no flow to his offense.
It's like he runs this super deep script where he has the whole game scripted out in his head and won't deviate from. I don't like. I don't like the way that his packages are set up. I don't think that he consistently puts all of the best people out on the field at the same time. I don't like the way that he targets the amount of Kyle Pitts needs more targets, period. And you have to figure that out. And I think that Bijan needs to be RB2. He needs to be the change of pace, and Tyler Algier needs to be RB1. And I just think that Arthur Smith has made up in his head this is the way that it's going to go, whether it makes sense or not.
I will say, to speak to his play calling, he actually called some pretty good plays. I hope this works. But this yeah, it's working. This Scotty Miller touchdown, that was a nice little play call. That
The
put us
one that
up.
zipped him across the screen. I mean, yeah, zipped him is short, right
That
across
was a
into
pretty
the
good
flat.
play call. You put everybody to the right, and then you find him open in the flat to the left. I was like, okay,
Yep.
Arthur, that was the first one, and Bijan was the second touchdown. I was like, all right, Arthur. So like his play calling today didn't really disappoint me at first. Um,
Oh, okay.
and
That's
he
what I
was
was
kind of
waiting on. Yeah, at
creative.
first.
He was creative. Like I will say, in the first half, it's like he really heard everything. You don't do nothing in the first half. Fine, I'm gonna be super creative. He had Cordero Patterson at the X, also, but it also because Matt Collins was hurt. But he had Cordell Patterson at the X. He had Drake London and Kyle Pitts on the same side of the field at the Y and the Z. He had Bijan and Algier in the backfield, and we got like a 20-yard gain on it. I was like, oh, you got to do that. And then in the second half, he just went right back to Arthur. He
He
went
can't
right
help.
back to Arthur.
He like I don't know him well enough to know that he thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, but everything that he projects to me is I'm gonna do it my way, and I know that there are obvious ways that I should do this. Simple, basic, but I have to do it my way, and I think that's where 100% of the time, as much as I like him, he loses me. And I've been a fan. Like I appreciate you taking a bad team and getting us to a mediocre team, but
But we got the
that
talent
can't
of a
be
good team, man. That's
that can't be your claim to fame. Is all right. Well, I'll take this really bad team and make it mediocre. Nah, the expectation take this mediocre team and make it to be good. Like that's what we're
yeah.
looking for here.
And and this is the only bail that I can shoot Arthur Smith because we were even though we weren't really executing in the red zone, he was from the 20 to the 20, he was moving. And Taylor Heineke, while he didn't look great, he didn't look bad. He looked like a backup quarterback. And then when
Yes,
he got hurt and he hurt that hamstring, and he told
and
me come off the field immediately. I put it in the group. I said, "Y'all, we about to lose because we had to go back to Desmond Ritter."
we knew what it was. We all knew what it was at that point. Like
As
me
I
and you
call
both
him,
said it
Desmond Mariota.
before we even said it. I think we both kind of just laughed, like, "Oh, here we are, back at square one, right back." And now I will say, Desmond played like a guy who's a little desperate. He played aggressive. He didn't play. He played like this is my second chance.
He
And I'm
played.
not gonna lie, I think that Desmond's probably gonna be our starter next week.
Yeah, there's nowhere else to go. And yes, he played like that. You know who he played like? He played like Marcus Mariota. That's
Yep,
Desmond Mariota that ran out there. He looked exactly like Marcus
he is.
Mariota out there.
He,
And it's
and
terrible. It's awful.
that little play that he runs where he scores, that's his play.
The
If
Stetson
y'all
Bennett
haven't figured that out by now, Desmond Ritter has one play. That little play where
quarterback
he run
sweep
over,
left.
and we gotta be like in the red zone, and he gonna RPO it and run it to the end zone.
Madden
And
2006.
as
Michael Vick.
long as he don't fumble, he gonna score every time. Now I will say that's his play. But I assume that eventually y'all defenses, I mean, I ain't the smartest man in the world. I watch football like all the rest of y'all. I'm sure eventually somebody's gonna be like, oh no. You're not gonna run the Ritter on me again.
Yeah.
That's all he got.
And we lost 25-22. And the defense, while they didn't play bad, I mean, like they got a pick. They caused a turnover. And we went down and scored a touchdown, I want to believe, off this turnover from Nate Landman.
Nope, kicked the field goal.
We're only up 17. Yeah, we kicked the field goal. there were still moments, as we talked about before, there were still moments where you could tell we really, really miss Grady Jarrett. Like, we were getting no real. They started running the ball on us. We were getting no real pass rush up the middle. Um, we are also a product of not having a real pass rushing end. I mean, the Cardinals, BJ Ojulari had 3 sacks on us today. 3.
Yeah. Well, I
We
think that after Ebiketie missed that, I think that,
Mhm.
like it or not, and he ain't been great, but he also hasn't been terrible. I think that Bud Dupree is our best rush end at this point. That is what it is. I know that that's leftovers, but that's all we got. Sometimes you open the fridge and that's all you got. You ain't got no more money. You're waiting on your paycheck, and them leftovers is what's in the fridge. So what you do, you reheat those leftovers and hope they keep you full until you get a couple more dollars. In this case, I mean, I don't think the defense has played bad. I think the defense has mostly been put in bad positions. The offense settling for field goals too much. The offense not advancing the ball, putting like not. You got to do a better job of at least flipping the field. Like, give yourself a chance to get the defense to get a stop.
I said that our defense and our team is a product of the moves we didn't make. And it's glaring. We didn't make a move at left guard. We tried to fill that spot with some mid. They were killing our number 98 for the Cardinals was killing our left guard
Whoop it.
whole game, whole
And
game.
nothing you could do but watch. You
Now
saw it.
when
We
they
saw
went
it, and
through
he was just
kicking their butt, but when they
yeah.
went through Lindstrom in the center, that's when Bijan will go
Oh
right
yeah.
up and Tyler Algier go right up the field.
Now, and I will say there's a couple times, like even when he ran that draw on 39, which is a tricky play to run on 39.
Yeah.
But the middle of the field, there was nobody. And I was like, now you can't do. I know you like dropping in coverage because you don't want to get beat deep, but they will. If you do that, then yeah, we're gonna get 39 on a draw. I think you put that in the group. Did he run a draw?
I'm like, did he run a draw down on 3rd and 9 in the fourth quarter?
It worked. Like, that's the other part about Arthur Smith. He will get tricky and he'll do something and it'll be successful. So I really hate when people do stuff like that because it enforces bad behavior. And he continues to just call the whatever plays he calls. There's no rhyme or reason. Doesn't seem to have any
There's
game
no
plan.
flow. Like I said at the very beginning, there's no flow to this offense.
I will say that one thing that he has is he is unpredictable. But he's so unpredictable that it's not like your team cannot get into a rhythm.
He is. It is frustrating. And even with all of that said, the defense, it was still only 17-15. And I mean, we had only allowed 15 points, and that's off
And
one
don't forget,
touchdown.
one of those is the long kick return. Like, I mean, the long punt return. Like,
well, yeah, that's
whatever you want to say about the defense, maybe it didn't look pretty.
That's
it
what I was
did.
getting to.
But like, if you really look at how well the defense played today, they did their job. Like, our offense just didn't do the job. And the offense hasn't done the job all season. And like the defense is now like it went from top 10 to I think it's like number 6. And the expectation keeps getting higher, but the players are not getting better. They're just, I mean, Ryan Nielsen just coaching his ass. Like I told you, I'm a little concerned that somebody may get smart enough and say, hey, man, we might be interested in Ryan Nielsen. And
yes, yeah, I agree, man. And the defense was playing tough, and this was kind of like a game-changing moment when they got to that punt return. And for some reason, the Falcons in the second half, we do not wrap up. And you could see when Dortch caught that ball and he went and he returned it all the way to the 20. That, to me, took the wind out of the sails of our defense. They got the ball at the 20. They eventually scored a touchdown. And that took the sails kind of out of our team, along with Heineke getting hurt. All of that happened within like a 5-minute period. And that's when the sails from the Falcons, you could see the defense, you could see the fans that were there, you could see everybody just go.
For me, the defense is okay, but the defense is not world beater. The defense is playing better than they legitimately are. And you keep asking them to do that. That's a tall ask. And the offense, for I think most people, myself included, I think they're playing below their level of skill, and that's the reason we're not winning close games. And I don't
And
have an answer that's good.
the
I don't like it.
margin of error when you play
Slim.
against in the NFL, especially in
Woo.
close games, when you're not a dominant and highly talented team, or you are a highly talented team, but on defense we're okay, right? There's more
Regular
scheme.
degular. Wait,
We're
hold on.
missing.
This is the thing. Are we better on offense or better on defense?
We have more talent on offense. We're better on defense.
That is a problem.
We need to get rid of. I like him. He's probably a really good special teams player, but that tight end today just abused Richie Grant.
McBride.
All that number 27. Number 27, Richie Grant against McBride. He's the one that caught the catch at the end of the game for them to kick the field goal. He's the one.
And that's so disrespectful. That pass at that point in the game is one of the most disrespectful play. I just put it in the group, disrespect. You know what you're supposed to do right there. Run the ball. You're up by one. Like, they're up by one. You're supposed to you're supposed to find a way to manage the clock, get the ball to the hash where your kicker likes and kick the field goal. Kyler chucks it. A jump ball. And McBride comes down with it. And he's not wrong because it worked. Now, strategically, do I think that was the right answer? Hell no. But if it works,
they picked out Richie Grant, though. They picked out Richie Grant. And when you pick out Richie Grant and you say, and he's always the in the secondary, you have Okudah, you have Terrell, you have Jesse, and you have Richie Grant. And Richie Grant is the weak link. They go after him with tight ends and with slot receivers. And we were missing D. Alford, and the rookie Phillips was in there. And at the he had a tough first half, but the second half, somebody might have to go. Some of these dudes, because he's taking somebody's spot.
Now, he was physical. Blitz. I think he got his hands on the guy early, got that pass interference. I think that was just like, hey, man, I'm trying to catch up to the speed of this game. But once he kind of got in there, he was more than fine. And I've been, that's the kid from Utah, so I've been waiting to see him all season.
He's good. He's good. He's definitely fundamentally sound. He's fundamentally sound.
Play him again.
He's tough. He's tough too. I think you might need to the trade deadline's passed, so you can't make a move. But you, at this point, let's look at the standings real quick. At this point, we are.
Nothing really. That's the
4 and
wild
6.
part about all of this. Nothing has really changed for us.
I mean, we're 4 and 6. We're one game behind the Saints. We play the Saints next week. We're a half game behind the Bucks. We've lost. The thing is, we've lost 3 in a row. 2 of these games we should have won. We're supposed to beat the teams.
We will regret this later. Right now, it's okay. We're going to need some games or something's not just like. Well, hopefully, if it hasn't bounced away for the last 3 games, eventually you hope that something falls in your favor. But right now, we're just not closing games. We're not winning games. All these games have been winnable, and that's where I think Arthur Smith is going to find himself in trouble soon and very soon, because this is an interesting team with interesting players. Now, the quarterback position, it kind of is what it is. We're playing with a backup quarterback. Taylor Heineke is a better backup. Desmond Ridder is a worse backup. But for sure, we're playing with backups.
Yeah, and the Falcons have been hit hard in the injuries, man. I got the injuries pulled up. Taylor Heineke, hamstring. Daniel Onyemata was out. We had Mac Hollins was out. Graziano was out. Part of that D-line rotation. D. Alford, our nickelback, probably a top 5 nickelback in the league right now.
Our defense playing that well, missing major guys, is impressive. Ryan Nielsen, I'm not gonna say nobody's paying attention. I haven't heard anybody say anything about him. He is coaching his ass off, and he's just making moves, and you're not getting any offensive support right now, and you got players injured.
And the dude we brought in to help ease the loss of Grady Jarrett, LaCale London, got hurt. He's now on injured reserve with his knee. So and he played pretty well. I was like, God, dog, man. So we've
Yeah,
got the
pull somebody else
injuries.
from the practice squad.
We got the injuries, but luckily next week we got to bye. So we got to bye. We can get a little bit. We can get healthy. Hopefully we can work on our offense. Desmond, I don't. The thing is, I don't have no. Not doom and
Oh,
gloom.
we gotta buy. So as
Yeah,
long as
but
Heineke's not injured, then we'll get him back.
that's what I'm hoping because I don't think any amount of practice will make Desmond Ritter better at this point. So it has to be Heineke can maybe come back. Um, and we got to buy. Then we play the Saints. Then we play at the Jets, home versus Tampa Bay, at Carolina, home versus Indianapolis, and then at Chicago, then at New Orleans. So I mean, we have a winnable schedule. We can. I think we can beat the Saints. The Saints just got beat by the Vikings.
Yes.
And
Oh, and you know they about to have an interesting conversation. There's no way that well, is Jameis.
talk it through.
I I think that Jameis is probably going to be their starter, and I think that is also not something that's very advantageous for us. I think that Jameis is probably he gonna throw the ball a lot, and he ain't scared.
He gonna throw it downfield. And if you keep, and they gonna throw it at Richie Grant. They gonna Jonas Jennings is gonna go at Richie Grant the whole game, and that I think is the key to the game for us against the Saints. We have to be able to match up with their speed at receiver. Somebody's gonna have to guard Taysom Hill. Although I think our linebackers
I
they
think they're
start
more
a
than
little slow. They start a little slow, but they end up getting really into the game once they start hitting some people. But we gonna have to get some pressure on them. I think we can stop Alvin Kamara, but Jonas Jennings is who I'm afraid of. I'm not really afraid of Michael Thomas. I've been told y'all about him. I think he got hurt again, so I'm not really worried about them in terms of their receiving core, other than Chris Olave. Chris Olave today, and he got a connection with Jameis. Chris Olave today looked really, really good, and the Falcons' AJ Terrell is gonna have to guard him, and Jeff Okuda is gonna have to come bring his lunch. And we're gonna have to get healthy. We're gonna have
hey
to get
Clark
healthy.
Phillips. Hey Clark Phillips, you need to mentally prepare yourself to you go. We're gonna need you too, buddy. It is all hands on deck.
Yeah. I don't think we're punting on the season yet. I think Arthur Smith is definitely coaching for his job. Um
That's
I
where I think that's where we're kind of at as far as conflict. Just
you think he going
if
you think he's safe?
no, definitely not safe. But I feel like it's kind of the same thing that's happening with the Commanders, where you got a guy who's trying to do his best to coach for his job. But I think that,
Oh, I don't think so. I think the Commanders already made their decision.
well, well, Ron is still there at this point, and I think that he believes if he like wins out or does something that he could keep his job. But I mean, I don't know I don't know what our game plan is. Are we tanking and like looking for like
As long as we have a chance to win the division, we
we
won't tank.
can't Atlanta this thing. The thing that Atlanta specializes in doing is
Being
not
mid.
cratering
Being mid.
and
So
not winning. Yes,
commit to the
mid.
rebuild or commit to win. You can't do both. Uh
And yeah,
the thing is the
and that
division
that
is so
seems to be
bad.
what we're doing.
That's why. The division is so bad. And the NFL draft is 7 rounds. And we got multiple picks. So you try to win and show progress. But I don't know what you can do when you hit your ride to Desmond Ritter. I don't know what progress we gonna see. I honestly think they really may trade Kyle Pitts in the offseason. I think he might be out of here. Just because we can't get him the ball. And Arthur Smith, it's either gonna be Kyle Pitts or Arthur Smith.
And I think that Arthur Smith is. I mean, yeah,
CP gonna
that's
be
the
out
other
of
part.
here.
Arthur
All
Smith,
them gonna be gone.
you have to make it where players want to come back here and play. I don't think that if I'm Kyle Pitts and I'm wasting any more seasons with you guys, not happily. Um, you're
He's still
not.
in the contract, but
If he was, you got to find a way to get Kyle Pitts 10 targets a game. I don't think you're getting anywhere close to that, and I don't blame him for asking out.
I don't know about 10.
Yes.
then you'd have to throw the ball 40 times.
That's
You got Drake
he
London,
needs.
Kyle Pitts, Cordero
I,
Patterson, Matt
Cordell Patterson.
Collins,
Hey, you get
Jonnu
yours.
Smith,
You and John New
Cardero Hodge.
first. All of those people we don't care about. The three people who I care about in this order: Kyle Pitts, Bijan, Drake London. The rest of y'all get it how you live. I don't care if you don't see the ball. I don't care. Those are my three best players. They're three of my youngest players. And they're the team, they're what my future will be built on. I'm going to make sure those guys get the ball. The rest of you, if you don't like it, you can take your ass home. It's just what it is.
Yep. Well, I guess that's a good place to end it. We've come to the end of the
Take
Falcons segment.
your ass home. And Arthur Smith, you keep playing like this, you're going to do what? Take your ass home. And we won't be sad because we gave you a shot. We ain't do you bad.
We come to the end of the Falcons segment. We're going to take a 30-second break. Then we'll be right back with our final segment, the Hawks segment, man. Again, rough week for the Hawks too. But we'll be back. Y'all stay tuned. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, with our final segment of the ATL edition of the Splash Cash, episode 128. The Hawks segment. We call it our Hawks Talk, where we talk about past week's games. Go ahead and get started, man. The Hawks played the Thunder, Orlando in Mexico. And then they played the Heat in, I believe that was the in-season tournament kickoff for them, if I'm not mistaken. So started off with a tough game against the Thunder. When we talked about this last week, we said that the Thunder were a difficult team for the Hawks to play because of the size. They have size at every position. Even Lou Dort is one of their shorter players, is like 6'7", 6'6". So, and he's a defensive beast. So we ended up losing that game 126 to 117. Chet is a monster. I will say, from a shooting standpoint, it just really wasn't our night, if I'm not mistaken.
That is a game that we don't, like I told you, we just don't match up 1 through 5 very well. SGA and Trae is a problem for Trae. DeJounte, he's taller, but he's nowhere near the size of Giddey. Dort's a very good defender. Then they have, who do they have at the 4? Oh, Jalen Williams. Rangy.
Which is crazy. Which is crazy because he's a guard.
Pass, shoot. And then you also have Chet, who can dribble, pass, and shoot, and play defense. That was a game that I kind of knew that, like, a majority of our players fit into what I would consider more traditional archetype. Clint's your standard big. Jalen does something. Hunter is more of your traditional 3. Murray is moving into that traditional scorer role at 2, and then Trae is like a combo guard like the majority of guys. Now, the Thunder play positionless basketball. Everybody can do almost everything. And that makes it very difficult for us to switch and to just play matchup. That's just not a great game for us. Now, where we should have probably beat them is depth, but you still got to execute.
So this game, just the matchup of everything. DeAndre Hunter was 2 of 13. I'm looking at the stats over here for y'all that are watching on YouTube. DeAndre Hunter was 2 of 13. He was 1 of 7 from 3. Trae was 5 of 18. DeJounte was 7 of 16. Johnson was 6 of 15. And Murray hit all his shots were threes because I think he got hot in the 4th. But aside from that, Sadiq Bey played really well. He was 6 of 11. Our bench actually played okay. I just can't understand. AJ Griffin got another DNP. AJ Griffin didn't play, and he's playing Garrison Matthews over him.
I specifically asked you in the chat, why is he playing him?
So I don't understand. This. Well, to keep it on this game was tough. We actually hung with them. We were down one. After the first, we were down 8 at half. The third quarter, Shea just kind of went off in the third quarter. Chet played okay, 16 and 12. I think he outplayed Capella, who had 6 and 12. But they just Giddy, Dort, and not even Giddy. I mean Dort and Jalen Williams just shut us down. Whoever was on the perimeter, they just destroyed.
Well, and I'm gonna repeat this multiple times here in the next today and probably going forward. We can't give up 30 points every quarter. First quarter, we gave up 29 points. Second quarter, we gave up 29 points. Third quarter, we gave up 38 points. And in the fourth quarter, we gave up 30 points. If you average giving up 30 points a quarter, we're going to lose a lot of games. And I don't know with the team that we have out there if we have a way to not give up 30 points. And even moreover, when we get down by 10, like we've done in the last 3 games, in every game we've gotten down the first half by 10 points. That puts us in a situation where you got to put the scores in to try to get us back in the game. And let me tell you what we're not going to do if we play defense. I mean, if we roll out Bogey, Sadiq Bey, and Trae Young. Ain't not a lick of defense being played.
Yeah, you got to have Capella and DeAndre Hunter or Capella and somebody.
There's still not enough. There's still not enough defense because none of them are playing defense. So Clint can try to save us to the best of his ability, but I don't care how good Clint is. You can't guard 5 people with 1 man, 1.5.
Yeah.
That's my biggest question to Quinn is. The offense is going to offense. We got a lot of players who can score. Cool. But we've always had a bunch of players that score. We've always had a pretty powerful offense. Eventually, defense has to be played, or are we just going to try to score 140 points a night?
Yeah, I mean, I knew we were going to give up points against OKC. Last time we played them in OKC when they had pretty much the same team minus Chet. We beat them because they got hot. Chet was the difference in this game. He bothered us. He bothered DeAndre Hunter on his shot. He was able to switch on Capella. Capella's a self-check other if he's not by the rim. So, I mean, Chet was able to.
They say there is nobody who shot more shots closer to the rim in NBA history than Clint Capella.
And he does not have the best percentage. But
nah, he's up there. Now he up there, but he's up there. But I mean, even go to the next game, the Magic.
So we ended up going into Mexico. I didn't even know this game was in Mexico. I was like, why the game not coming on at 7? It came on at 8.
We always get the stupid games. We had to go to Saudi Arabia a couple years ago or last year. Now it's Mexico City. Don't send us no more. Send somebody else. Why do the Hornets not go? They need to go somewhere. Send Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole. Send them to Mexico or Switzerland or Sweden, wherever the hell. Send them. Stop sending my Hawks. My Hawks only need to play in this. Well, maybe they need to move to Mexico the way Trae played.
Well, they went crazy. They playing. So I think that's a different conversation. I think that's an agent. I think they're trying to make Trae an international superstar. But so the Hawks ended up playing Orlando in Mexico, and again, first quarter 34-34. Second quarter 39-34. It was a high scoring game. We ended up leading at halftime 73-69. Which is kind of crazy. That's what 146 to 1 something. Like you are out of there. So
yeah, both teams play out of their minds for 3 out of 4 quarters. They fell in. They played 3 good quarters and fell off in the fourth. We played 2 good quarters, had a terrible third, and then survived in the fourth.
Yeah, so like the second half, we went cold. Trae started off the game just on fire. He couldn't miss. I think he had 20 and he was 27 at halftime.
The entire Trae Young trick bag was bagging. When he was hitting them with the look over here, throw the ball over here, I was like, y'all did not look at the scout report or nothing.
He had 20. I thought they were going to show highlights there. Sorry. He had 27 at halftime, and he was efficient. And I was like, dog, the fact that he's efficient, he was hitting it. Now, once he got hot, he started shooting from further and further away. He started hitting. He kept hitting. And I was like, all right, I hope he don't do this in the third quarter. He was getting it going, and then in the third quarter, everybody just kind of hit a wall. Capella, like I said, was kind of null and void. DeAndre Hunter, he was playing well. Jalen Johnson was dominating Franz Wagner. Franz Wagner, because he's German, so you gotta say Wagner. Franz Wagner was minus 16 against Jalen Johnson. Jalen plus 15.
He's too fast for him. He's way too fast.
He's too everything for him. Now I will say Franz got a little bit of a bag when it comes to offense. Now
he ain't no slouch. That little two tandem they got with him and Paulo, if they can get some guards and maybe another wing, that they could be onto something.
And I will say Jonathan Isaac coming back in the third quarter, they put Jonathan. Maybe he just ran out of gas because he hasn't been playing. But in third quarter, he shut us down by himself. He had 2 blocks.
He's a really good player when he's available because
he's 7 feet. He's 6'11".
Yes, he's also. Let me tell y'all, if any of y'all play 2K, he is a cheat code. Cheat code. 5. He can play the 5, the 4, and the 3. But yeah, just that ability to move his feet and that length and defense is his thing. He's tough. If he's available, he's very tough. He had in 16 minutes, he had 12 points, 7 rebounds, 2 blocks. He's always hurt. Shout out to my boy Kev. We talk about this dude all the time. He is a video game phenom, but he just cannot stay right on the floor.
He can stay healthy. He looks like he's good enough. He's just not. And he gained weight. Like he's gotten bigger, but he's playing now. I will say the reason that the Orlando really stayed in it because Suggs just went off. He was 4 or 5 from 3. He ain't never hit 4 threes in an NBA game. I don't think he did it in college. So they got kind of outstanding, but AJ Griffin ended up playing 10 minutes, which was nice. But Trae I think Trae ended up having 41. I want to say what? Trae had 41, 8 and 41
points, 8 assists, 3 turnovers. Slam dunk game. Congratulations. I know y'all say that I don't give Trae his credit. When he was kicking ass, I said, hey, he's playing out of his mind.
Yeah, you was like, he's going crazy.
Because I kept watching it. Because first of all, if y'all on Bally, y'all know Bally been trick bagged for the whole season. Games just not up there. The app don't work, whatever. So I'm really concerned about Mexico. And I'm like, oh, there's no way we're going. I tried everything, and then like, okay, it works. So I'm watching the game. It's just, I know I say that I be playing about Trae like Harlem Globetrottering. He looked like the Harlem Globetrotters against the Magic. Yeah. They looked like the Washington Generals. They took every fake that he gave them, and I had nothing negative to say about this game. Nothing.
The good thing about Trae is when he thinks that you're not good enough to be on his level and you start trying to shine, he is going to try. And he was killing Jalen. Jalen Suggs was hitting the 3, but he was killing Jalen. Every time they switch,
that is a gift and a curse of having Trae on your team. Is if he thinks he can beat you, he going
right at you. He going right at you.
But if he can't beat you, then he gonna be frustrated.
Mm-hmm. Now I will say the Magic, they were talking trash. They were, and I will say Markelle Fultz. The Magic are a guard away. The Magic are a guard away. Markelle Fultz is a good 6th man, 7th man. Jalen Suggs is a good trade piece. Because Cole Anthony has figured out his role on that team. I am the bench point guard. And he's figured it out, and he signed for it. He signed up for it, and he's good. They are the money a Chris Paul away.
I'm right. Yeah. When you find your starter, I'll take care of this. I'll take care of this. Hey, and it's I wish I would have kept everybody instead of trading away Bomba and all the rest of them. But yeah, I'll make it work with what I got, and he's confident. He's very confident in his role.
I really, really wish that I don't know who you can go get at point guard. But you need a point guard. You need a legit point guard. A pass, almost more like a pass first point guard, because you have so many pieces. It's almost kind of like the same problem Boston had or has, really. They
No,
need like a
Holiday
setup
gonna,
point guard.
yeah.
Well, I mean, that defense just.
It's a shortage of good passing point guards. Same thing that Utah needs. Like you start looking at that team, you're like, oh well, if you had a guy who could help these other three guys get some buckets, they'd be onto something. I started looking. They're not. If you don't have a point guard right now, it's kind of like having a quarterback. You ain't got one. Ain't no answer. There's no short, quick answer to a good point guard. I looked.
What do you think about? I didn't mean to make this the Orlando Magic segment, but what do you think about Russell Westbrook on that team?
Timeline no matchup.
I don't think Russell Westbrook got a timeline.
I mean, nah, because then you have too many non-shooters. You need somebody who can shoot too.
And Charlotte's not gonna give up on LaMelo, but LaMelo on that team, LaMelo and Paolo would be insane.
Yeah, you also not getting LaMelo. LaMelo is off limits.
Yeah, that's why I said Charlotte's not getting rid of LaMelo.
You might be able to get like Terry Rozier, but I feel like that's perpetuating kind of the same thing. Like, yeah, you need a guy
upgrade.
Who can.
That's an upgrade of Suggs, but you still have.
You need a guy who can help your guys get shots, get easier shots.
Yep.
And those guys just not available. That's tough.
Not at all. So the Hawks ended up. Go ahead.
I do want to ask you a question
about Orlando.
I'll wait till we. But once again, like you said, 119 that puts you at 30 points a quarter. You're right there. And let's go to the next game.
And then you end up.
The Heat.
We ended up now. I didn't get a chance to watch this game. I forgot what I was watching. That came on Saturday, didn't it?
Correct.
Yeah, no, I know what I was watching. This hat on my head has a G on it for Georgia. Should be the number one team in the nation.
Somebody win.
Should be the number one team in the nation now. But I was watching that game, so I was kind of keeping up with the Hawks. Plus, there was so much other football on. There was like USC Oregon. There was Washington versus. There was too much football for me to care about basketball that day. Plus, I saw that Jimmy wasn't playing. I was like, oh, the Hawks playing a Jimmyless team? They playing a Jimmyless Miami Heat? Ain't no way we're going to lose to the Heat with no Jimmy.
No Jimmy, no Hero, no Caleb Martin. No problem. I mean, I can tell you, I watched this game. We started out pretty terribly. You actually look in the first quarter, we didn't give up 30 points. We gave up 41 of them points. And managed to score 24 points. Now, I will say that this is what lost us the game.
Kyle Lowry went 4 for 6 and 3-pointers in the first quarter.
And I think Trae went 1 of 7 or 1 of 8 around like the first half. He had a good second half, but we were chasing at that point. We chased the whole game. Now I will say Bam Adebayo played out of his mind.
Bam at 26 and 17.
But it's not that. He was hitting the mid-range. I think he hit more mid-rangers than our team did.
Which is not good for the league.
That's not good for anybody but Bam Adebayo in Miami Heat. But he won't ever do that again. Like that's an aberration of a night.
2 blocks. He had a full game against us.
Yes, he put on a clinic. He just kept hitting that shot. There's not a really good answer for it because if you really look at Bam, if you got to pick your poison, that's the poison that you want to pick. We couldn't hit shots early. And that put us in a situation where we were chasing the whole game. If you really look at it, I think we won the last 3 quarters. We just lost the first quarter so badly.
We needed to win the third, and they ended up coming back to tie it. We were winning the third. That's when we were coming back. That's when DeJounte got hot. But I will say what I've noticed when we lose.
You can't lose with no Jimmy, no Caleb, no Hero.
Well, what I'm noticing when we lose is we fall back into that same DeJounte and Trae take all the shots. So DeJounte had 16, Trae had 19. Hunter's always gonna get 10 shots. I don't care what you if you call the play or not. Hunter gonna get 10 shots. Bogey had 13. Jalen Johnson arguably has been our second most complete player on the team, offensively and defensively. And he only got 8 shots, and he was 4 of 8.
He just ain't have it. But and I know y'all can call me a Trae hater. I don't care. Trae, you can't start out the game 1 of 9. We
Well,
can't.
he's been struggling with his shot. He's been struggling with his shot the whole. Orlando was. We thought he broke out of the slump in Orlando in Mexico because he was going crazy, and then he didn't.
Yeah, but my thing is, don't get to 10 shots. Like he just keeps. I don't know. And this is, you know what? This is not a Quinn Snyder problem. This is this is not a Trae Young problem anymore. It's now a Quinn Snyder problem. Quinn Snyder keep telling him to shoot, and he keeps telling him to shoot all of these threes. Quinn wants more and more threes. And the more threes we shoot, the more long rebounds we have, the more teams are going to get back in transition. I want to be very honest. This Heat team that we played, it's a terrible basketball team. If you take Jimmy Butler, Caleb Martin, and Tyler Hero off of a team that's already notoriously not very good at offense, then you have nothing. And we still let them get 117 points and score 41 points the first quarter. At a certain point, number one, the shot's not going to fall every time. We're going to have to get that out of our head. And number two, you have to play some defense. And at this point, if our shots don't fall, we're out of it, and we're letting you know we're not playing defense at all. If you want a 30-point quarter, this is the place to get it.
Quinn didn't. I'm trying to look up if Quinn coached under what's his name, but I don't think he did.
Who?
Because it's Mike D'Antoni. Because yes, he did. In the Lakers.
Ding, ding, ding,
2012.
ding, ding.
There it is. That's why, because I'm like, dog, the way they saying talking about is playing the way Steve Nash used to play. It's like just run up and down and score, which is kind of working when you play with Jalen with no defense. And I'm like, well, Quinn Snyder, but that's how Quinn came up under D'Antoni. He was the first.
And you're going to have two issues. When you play against competent teams, they're going to smoke you. And when we get to the playoffs and basketball is not this wide open, run up and down the court, and you have to play half-court basketball, what are we going to do then?
So we're only a half game out of the division, though. We're only a half game out of the division lead. We're basically going to be fighting. We're going to be fighting Miami for the division. So they're 3-1. We're 2-2 at home. They're 2-0 in the division. We're 2-2. Charlotte is 2-1, but they're 3-6 in overall. So I mean, we're number 5 in the conference for now.
Which is trash.
I'm not really ready to. I'm not panicking or anything, but I do think that we've got to figure out how to play better defense for sure. If we can't play better defense and we keep giving up 30-point quarters, and unless Trae starts shooting 50% from 3, that ain't going to happen. Now, I will say...
He just got to not shoot 35% from the field. And I'm going to tell you right now, because Cedric called me after the Mexico game, and he was like, oh, did you see that? Did you see that? And I'm like, yeah, but did you, see the other 7 games? He ain't have nothing to say. Then I talked about the other game, and if you look at the Heat game, his stats are going to look really good. What did he end up the Heat game with?
Orlando or the Heat?
The Heat game, 27 points and 11 assists. So I've come to the conclusion, I feel like most Hawks fans are never going to watch the game. They're going to look at the box score, and then from there, they're just going to be like, whoa, it looks like Trae's playing pretty good. So I have 2 questions. Who do you think is our best player through the first 8 games, 9 games? And who do you think is the next person to be fired?
Fired?
When I fired, traded or fired. Probably traded, because I don't think Quinn's being fired anytime soon. But I definitely think that if we're going to get to a tougher part of the schedule, and we're gonna drop below 500, and Trae's gonna be scoring these 27 and 11 games, and then somebody else gonna have to go.
Um, that's loaded questions. Especially the second one. Based on what you just said.
This is a team that wants to compete and not be in the play-in.
I think our best player alternates between Young and Murray. Like, Young is our best player if he plays like he did against Orlando, but Murray is our best player if he plays like he did against last week. Was it against Minnesota? When he plays like he did against Minnesota. So I would probably say overall it's DeJounte Murray because he plays defense. That's the only way that you could say that I think he's the better player on our team. And then I would say Trae. And then third,
Jalen Johnson.
Jalen Johnson, man. And listen, Jalen is guarding the 2, the 1, the 2, the 3, and the 4. He's guarding every position but center. And he keeps having that one play.
He gets frazzled. But that's Nate's fault. Every time he gets frazzled, I blame that on Nate for not playing him. I don't blame that on Jalen Johnson. You got to get experience, bro. They should have dropped you off in the G League scoring 39 and 10 every night. That's egregious. Every time that you do something that I know that you're just, what do you say? You get ahead of your skis. When I see you playing and I see you playing from lack of experience, I blame that on Nate. That's on Nate. That's squarely on Nate.
Jalen Johnson is averaging more points, more rebounds, more assists, the same amount of steals, and more blocks, less personal fouls than DeAndre Hunter, and less minutes. Jalen Johnson, and the thing is, DeAndre Hunter isn't playing bad.
No,
I mean, except for that one game, he was 1-7. But I mean, he ain't even playing
Hunter
bad
is
at all.
having the best season of his career.
He looks like a complete veteran basketball player. And I will say, Bogey kind of rough.
But well, first of all, we said from day one, don't pay Bogey no $20 million. That's crazy as hell. That
Bogey quietly is averaging 3 assists though.
Yeah, but
it's third on the team.
We needed a guy who could facilitate better and play more defense. Mm-hmm. The answer is okay. So for me, y'all call me a hater. I don't care. We played 9 games. Trae has been the best player for exactly one of those games. I think for the rest of those games, he hasn't been number 2 or number 3. I think that DeJounte Murray is the best basketball player on our team, and I think that Jalen Johnson is most improved, and he's probably the second best. Clint, I have a Clint's ability to be able to patrol the middle and rebound so well. You can't ever not put him in like that top 2-3 category.
Just for clarification, you're saying Trae is not the second best player on our team?
Through 9 games, no, he has not been the second best player on our team. No.
Okay. Gotcha.
I've watched every game. I've watched every
only
game.
One I missed was the Heat.
But this is the thing. That's the reason somebody else is gonna get fired, because he hasn't shot well, and then we give up points on defense. Then it's like, well, looked like Trae had a good night because it was 27 and 11. Well, that first quarter, when you went 1 of 8,
Trae can just,
he kind of put us.
If he could get to 40%, everybody else on our team is shooting 40% or higher. I think Jalen Johnson is almost at like 50%.
But that's the reason that I know that if you didn't watch this game, then there's no way for somebody to look at the box score and be like, oh, well, the reason we lost the game is Trae. I'm going to sound like a hater. But if you watch this game and you see how we got down and we never got out of that hole, well, you're going to be like, oh, well, I saw it.
I don't think Trae is our third best player. Oh, he fumbled. I don't think Trae's our third best player, but I will say that he needs, in order for us to get better, he has to. He can't. You're right. He can't shoot 35%. You cannot shoot 35% while Jalen Johnson is shooting 60. Hunter
And
is
in
shooting
most games,
45.
he's gonna shoot the most shots, other than the games where Murray just goes nuclear. When Murray had like the 41 points, eventually he had to just, I gotta let him get it tonight. I can't keep.
And I'm gonna ask you a question. Why aren't we playing AJ Griffin? If you're asking me who's the next, well, there's the answer to your question before you reply. That's the answer to your question. That's the next person that gets traded, and I don't know if that's on Trae. I think that's gonna be on leadership. They are not playing him. They played Wesley Matthews. They have played Garrison Matthews. They have played, but they are not playing AJ Griffin. They're playing Kobe Buffkin before AJ Griffin, which doesn't make sense to me. Seeing as how you could develop him. Now I will say defensively he still gets lost a little bit, but again,
so does everybody. Like,
well, you blame that on Nate, even though Nate kind of liked him though.
No, Nate, I think, did a decent job with AJ Griffin. He did a terrible job with Jalen Johnson. But for me, like, I don't understand why. First, we played the short lineup, and I was like, are we going to play 8.5 people for the whole season? That doesn't make sense. Then Wesley Matthews, well, first of all, he put Garrison Matthews in the game, and I was tight about that. There's no, like, AJ Griffin is a three, like, Garrison Matthews and AJ Griffin do the same thing for all intents and purposes. Mm-hmm. Both four spacers who shoot the three in the corner. If there's an open three, shoot it. But AJ Griffin is a younger player, so we can develop. Oh, I'm way behind you. So we can develop him. And he's a smart basketball player. He ain't great on defense, but offensively, he makes the right pass. He's not afraid to shoot the ball, and he shoots at a high clip. I don't know what AJ Griffin did so they don't bang with him like that. But I'm gonna tell you right now, at any point where you think that you should play Wesley Matthews or Garrison Matthews, you lose me. You 100% lose me.
Yeah, I wouldn't. And you got them fouls too, man. At the end of the day, AJ Griffin has 6 fouls. He's a 40. He's a 40% 3-point shooter, and he plays decent on-ball defense. And he at least is gonna get in the way.
Like, he's competent. He's the youngest player from, like, this is how these guys end up looking like Jalen Johnson. Oh, this guy's been good. He just hasn't had an opportunity to play. So is he skilled? Yes. Can he do different things on the floor? Yes. Does he have the confidence? Same like Jalen Johnson, he just needs more confidence. Same thing with AJ Griffin, needs more confidence. But playing Wesley Matthews and Garrison Matthews, it makes me look at Quinn the way that I look at Arthur Smith. Like, bro, what are you doing? This ain't the answer.
So we got the Pistons, the Knicks, and the 76ers. Pistons on the road, Knicks and 76ers at home this week. I don't know what to think of this team. Logically, we should beat. The Pistons are going to give us an issue. They match up with us at every position. I think they get the robot. I think he's been hurt. I think he's back.
He gonna give Hunter he gonna give Hunter hell too. He's one of the few guys who be like, nope, I'm out rebound you.
Last time we played them with Cade Cunningham, they beat us by 20. And Jalen Duren and all of them are, and what's his name? Dude, like the
Ivy. Quietly, Detroit didn't put them together. They got Isaiah Stewart over there. They got Jalen Stewart. They got Sasser on the bench, who's a bucket. They got Ivy on the bench, who's a bucket. They got Cade. They have a surplus.
They might trade Ivy.
They're gonna have to move somebody
because Sasser has pretty much come in and took his job immediately. He's gotten like 20 points. He's had like 2 20-point games.
So that's a good. So, but what scares me about this week is we could lose all 3 of these games.
Yes.
2 of these games, I feel very confident. The Knicks are just playing better basketball than us consistently. The 76ers.
Yeah, RJ Barrett is taking that step.
Embiid and Maxey.
Embiid is out to prove that I didn't need James Harden to win this MVP. He is out to prove it, and Maxey is showing that James Harden. I'm not gonna say James Harden was holding him back, but he deserved to be the number 2 option.
I mean, for all intents and purposes, Maxey was the number 2 option. You just had the. I think that they're going to have the same problem that we have, where you're going to end up needing another player as the season progresses. Like right now, we have 2 point guards, but both of our point guards play at the same. They start the game. As soon as Trae or DeJounte tweaks an ankle, who's our backup point guard?
It was supposed to be Buffkin, but I think it's Bogey. Bogey is third on the team in assists. That's all we got. Or Patty, and I don't want to play Patty.
But
you could probably go.
Bogey,
you could go get
Bogey is good in spots, but you can't ask Bogey to be like, all right,
scorer than facilitator.
I need you to be the primary facilitator for much longer stretches. Like right now, all right, well, Trae will go out first, and then DeJounte, and then they'll rotate them where it's not like Bogey, you're out there for long periods of time. But I mean, if we were to lose the 30+ minutes of Trae or lose the 30+ minutes of DeJounte, we can't have one facilitator. That ain't the answer. And I think the Knicks are in the same boat. It's cool right now, and you're right. Immediately, everything on Maxey is going to go up because he's going to get more shots and he's going to have the ball in his hand more. But eventually, somebody's going to go down, and then you're going to need that James to be able to get you that 10 assists, and then you're not going to have it, and you're going to be like, oh, what do we do now?
So I think we beat the Knicks. I think we beat the Knicks here. I think we beat them.
Why?
I think we at home. I think Trae outplays.
Man, the Knicks.
What's his name?
The Knicks.
But then hold on. Then we lose to the 76ers. I think Embiid goes crazy. Embiid doesn't like Capella. And Capella bothers Embiid, and Embiid is gonna, and he doesn't like Atlanta.
That's true.
The Pistons, dog. The Pistons. I'm nervous about that. If we beat the Pistons, then we may end up beating the Knicks, for sure, and we will go 2-1. 2-1 is how the best I see this, unless somebody decides to sit some people, not us. But I don't see us beating the 76ers. Not with Maxey and Embiid. I don't see that happening. Oh my God, the Jets.
And the Knicks already beat us once.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Once again, giving up 30 points a quarter. That's all of the rest of this sounds good and it's all great until somebody says that we're going to stop giving up 30 points a quarter. What are we really doing?
Yeah. Well, hopefully we do well, man. We'll find out tomorrow. Hopefully we can beat the Hawks.
We off tomorrow. Play on
Tuesday. The Hawks, they need to beat the teams they're supposed to beat. But
like the Falcons. The only team that beats the team they're supposed to, Atlanta Braves.
Georgia Bulldogs. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of the ATL edition of the Splashcast, episode 128. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. We talked about the Braves losing basically their infield coaching staff to the Angels. We talked about the Falcons losing their minds to the Cardinals, and the Hawks finishing 1-2 last week. Hope with a tough schedule this week. Nor did we didn't miss anything. Take us out.
Ladies and gentlemen, keep me and Reggie in your prayers. We are fighting a good fight. At least Reggie has one team that keeps on winning. The rest of mine just keep on losing. Just keep me lifted up in prayer. Thank you guys for rocking with us on this beloved Sunday ATL edition, aka Sunday service, aka the funeral. Number one, more black baseball. Number 2, more black cowboys and cowgirls. And number 3, support support HBCUs. Till we meet again. Adios, mi amigos. God is love. You see the confetti.